Contenders and Pretenders, the 2023 NFL Playoff Edition. Ever since the NFL expanded to 7 seeds per conference, there's definitely been some pretenders in this NFL playoffs. Of course, there's always pretenders in the NFL playoffs, given the fact that there's always division winners with losing records. We've seen it many times in the NFL, and we're seeing it again this year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Even though they have Tom Brady, they are a team with a losing record who gets to host a playoff game against a better Dallas Cowboys team. In this video, I'm going to break down who are my pretenders and who are my contenders. I'm going to start with my biggest pretender and my favorite contender in this video. For my biggest pretender in this NFL playoffs, it's got to be the Baltimore Ravens. First and foremost, the Baltimore Ravens are going to be out of this playoffs pretty quickly. Lamar Jackson's not playing, which means you have Huntley going in at quarterback, and they're going to lose to the Cincinnati Bengals. There's no way Joe Burrow at home loses to a Baltimore Ravens team that essentially has not that many impressive weapons, and their biggest weapon of all is Lamar Jackson, and he's not even playing. Now, you might be asking why the Dolphins are not my biggest pretender as well. Well, they're pretty close, but at least they have guys like Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill to at least try to throw the ball to. But it's hard for a lot of casual NFL fans to even name one healthy wide receiver that plays for the Baltimore Ravens. My favorite contender has to be the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, you might say it's obvious they have a bye week. They only have to win 2 games to make the Super Bowl, and they're the 1 seed. Well, not every 1 seed is always going to be a contender. I think there are some 1 seeds sometimes that are a year away, which we'll get to here shortly potentially. But the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, they're probably going to play most likely going to play the Jags or the Chargers in the second round and probably win and have a conference final game against either the Bengals or Bills. Now, Bengals or Bills also have a great opportunity to make this NFL playoffs, but that does not mean that the Chiefs aren't the favorite here. I mean, they're the best team possible. They're the only team on that side of the conference that's actually won it and has experience winning it. So I think it's an easy pick to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, let's start in the NFC for my pretenders. Really, how the NFL playoff works, I'm going to have more pretenders than contenders. But I'm going to have to start with my favorite team, my hometown team, the Seattle Seahawks at the 7 seed, playing against the number 2 seed, the San Francisco 49ers. While I think the Seahawks have a small chance at winning this game, a potential upset, because they played 3 times this year, I have to be realistic. This team is not a Super Bowl team, and this team is not going to win the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter if they even win 1 game. They are pretenders in this playoffs, so unfortunately, that's the first team on my list. The next game up is the Vikings and the New York Giants, and as much as I kind of like both these teams, because they're fun and they're kind of stories that we didn't expect. Nobody thought Daniel Jones and the Giants would make it to the playoffs. Nobody thought Kirk Cousins would lead a team to a 3 seed in the NFL playoffs, but they're both pretenders. As much as I like Kirk Cousins to Justin Jefferson, with Dalvin Cook and a great roster that they have, I don't know if Kirk Cousins can show up for multiple games in a playoff, and unless he proves otherwise, they're most likely pretenders. And on the New York Giants side, their quarterback's Daniel Jones. There's no hate to Daniel Jones. This is his first playoff experience. And at the end of the day, he's not going to go that far in the playoffs. He's not that great of a regular season quarterback. He's not bad. I'm not saying he's bad, but he's not that great. And that does not equate wins in the playoffs. It's his first time in the playoffs, and I just don't think that's going to be a time to win in the NFL playoffs. And this might come to a shocker, but another pretender, I'm going to say the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, pump the brakes, Eagles fans, before you start scolding me. I am not saying the Eagles are pretenders because I don't think this team is built right. This is their first playoff run. Now, a lot of times, it takes more than 1 playoff run to win the Super Bowl. There's a reason you're not going to see guys like, Joe Burrow win last year. It was his first playoff run. You might say it's the Rams' first playoff run, but it's not. They're all vets last year. This Eagles team is so young and stacked. I just don't think this is the year. I don't think you win in your first playoff journey. I will be shocked if they win. I will be. But I don't mind if they prove me wrong, but they got to be on that pretenders list. Even though they're the 1 seed, they're just not making the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl. That's how I see it. And to my contenders. Of course, the San Francisco 49ers, the 2 seed. Despite having Brock Purdy, I think they could be that one odd runoff team that wins with a rookie quarterback because nothing revolves around the quarterback in this offense. And I think it's obvious they have the best defense in football. So the 49ers, most people will think they're contenders. The Dallas Cowboys, contenders. Now, the Dallas Cowboys have been dying to win a Super Bowl. And I think they're finally at the place where they kind of have the right formula. Now, their offense isn't perfect, nor is their defense. But Dak Prescott's been through enough playoff experience, and this team is good enough, and the coaching staff's been through playoff experience with Mike McCarthy, that I think this team, if they beat Tampa Bay in round one, I think they can upset the Philadelphia Eagles in round two, and that makes you a contender if you're in that Final Four. So I'm shockingly going to say the Dallas Cowboys are contenders. And last but not least, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are also contenders. I think if the seeding works out and one of those two teams play the Eagles in round two, the 5 or 4 seed plays number 1 Eagles in round two, if the other higher seeds win, I say the Eagles are going to lose to either one. Tom Brady is the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I will never, and I mean never, I'm not even a big Bucs fan or Tom Brady's fan. I just know he's the GOAT. I'm a Seahawks fan. But Tom Brady is always a contender. Contenders. Now to the AFC. Contenders versus pretenders. The Buffalo Bills. Absolute contenders. I just think it's obvious. And I'm going to speed through the AFC because unfortunately, it works out the way that usually works out, but didn't for the NFC, is the number 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs, of course, were my contender. The number 2 seed Buffalo Bills are my contenders. And the number 3 Cincinnati Bengals are my contenders. The Bills have something even greater to play for after what happened to Damar Hamlin. I'm not saying they didn't have something great to play for, but a lot of times after emotional seasons, players, I feel like, take a step up. When Kobe Bryant passed away, unfortunately, the Lakers won the bubble championship because I felt like they had something extra to play for. After Hurricane Katrina, the Saints came back and eventually won the Super Bowl. I felt like it was an emotional season. They played for something even bigger. And I feel like the Bills are playing for something even bigger. And the Bengals just have a chance. They're doing what they did last year. They got hot at the right time. They're getting hot at the perfect part of the season. And they are streaking and ready to make another Super Bowl run. And I think this time around, if they do make the Super Bowl, they will win it. Unfortunately, the rest of them are pretenders. The Baltimore Ravens, unfortunately, lost Lamar Jackson. He's not playing. They're going to lose round one. And the Bengals, unfortunately, do not have Tua. They're also going to lose in round one. Now, this is where the 7-team playoff sometimes gets tough. You got teams that limp into the playoffs like the Dolphins. Now, in a lot of seasons, the Dolphins would not have made the playoffs with a team that has their quarterback that continues to be out. But for this situation, at the end of the day, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Those two teams are not contenders. And you have the Chargers and Jags. Fun teams. They're going to be good in the next 2-3 years. I can't wait for the matchup of Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Herbert. But as of right now, these teams are not going past the second round. Whoever wins that game, and they are unfortunately pretenders. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Who do you think's winning the Super Bowl? Put that in the comments as well. I'm Sammy on Tap, and I'll be back soon. I love y'all for all the support, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.